Hey guys, it's MKxJUMP here, and in today's video we're going to be checking out this week's event. Mid-Autumn Festival carries on from last week and has a few new additions, which should be very exciting. And also there is the new Heroic Summons event, which is great, and we have a new hero at our disposal called Flora, who is a ranger in the Forest faction. So let's go take a look at all of that, guys, and see what's in store for us this week. However, before we get into today's video, I'd love to give a shout out to one individual that's decided to back me on Patreon this week. Moats, thank you so much for your support. If you want to be like Moats and back me on Patreon, you can find a link down below in the description or up there in the top corner of the screen. Anyway, let's go check out this week's event. So every day for logging in, we get our hands on 3 Heroic Summon Scrolls, because it is a Heroic Summon event and that's what we normally get. However, as an addition for Mid-Autumn Festival, we get ourselves a Celebration Treasure Box, which when you open it has a chance to give you either Gold, Spirit, Hero Promotion Stones, Magic Dust, Guild Coins, which is really exciting, or monster parts. So this is a fantastic way of getting free resources. They give us 10 of these every single day just for logging in, and also their additional rewards throughout the event. So it's just a great way that DH Games has decided to give us some free additional resources that we can all get our hands on. How good's that? Now, first off, taking a look at the main event, you'll see Palace of Eternity is here, which allows you to swap any of the following 5 heroes into Flora, the new forest hero. However, looking at all of these heroes, I don't really think I actually want to swap any of them. Russell and Drake are phenomenal, Rogan's pretty much meta-defining in PvP and used on the best PvE team at the moment, Ignis is a great healer that can support and give energy, and Tix is phenomenal in Aspen Dungeon. So I don't really know why anyone would swap these for Flora. Maybe it's swap Ignis, but from what we've seen, Flora doesn't seem phenomenal. We're going to take a look at her skills a little later on, but she's not jumping out to me as a hero that I'd say go spend your scrolls on. If you want to have your chance of getting these Palace Crystals, you don't actually have to spend them now. These crystals can be used in the future for Chinese New Year or even Christmas if you want to get your hands on the new Light and Dark heroes, because that's normally when Palace of Crystal isn't open, so you can't receive the crystals, but Palace of Eternity is still there, so you can still swap in. So if you don't know how Palace of Crystal works, every time you do 400 summons, you'll get yourself 5 Eternal Crystals. And these crystals eventually accumulate, and every 10 you can exchange for whatever hero is available in the summon event. Now these carry over, as I said, so you can bring them forwards into different summon events, which is what I'd recommend doing generally for when new Light and Dark heroes are available. However, one thing you can also do is get a bunch more. You'll see these are locked. There's 15 crystals that you could get every single time, which are hidden away by a key, which you can only get by buying the top value package. Now, I said last week, a lot of people that wanted to spend 500 that can get the most value out of this, that thought they were going to do 2,000 scrolls, the best way to do that is by spending 500 and getting all of these palace keys, dropping your 2,000 scrolls, and maxing yourself out. And there's 2 reasons to do 2,000 scrolls this event. Either you want to build E5 Flora, or you want to get as many Starlight Orbs as possible, because if you remember, Starlight Orbs can be achieved for every heroic scroll you use. However, there is one thing I am going to say about Flora, so stay tuned for this video, because it will potentially change your mind on whether you're going to use your scrolls or not. Greydor's Blessing carries over from last week, so if you haven't had a chance to get yourself some fancy armor, whether it's class specific or upgrading lower armors into better armors, you can do that here. It does cost a lot of golden gems, but generally it's pretty worth it, and considering spending gold is something you have to do this event to get Starlight Orbs, it might not be a terrible idea. The value packages for this week I've already sort of touched on. They give you Palace Keys, but as well they're also going to give you Starlight Orbs, Heroic Scrolls, and Gems if you go for the top one, and a scaling down amount. Obviously you won't get the Palace Key if you don't buy the lower packs, but you still do get proportionate amount of Starlight Orbs, Scrolls, and Gems for purchasing them. So work out what's best value for you and what you're prepared to spend. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's just a little bit. It's going to be different for all of you at home. Hero Lottery is here, so every time you get a copy of Flora, you are rewarded with 3-star armor. Not that exciting, 3-star armor isn't important, it's not meta-defining, it's not even great, so thanks, I think. Not really that good. The summon prizes, though, are very nice. So we have our usual Prophet Orbs and Heroic Scrolls, which we get for doing different amounts of summons. After 300, you'll get your hands on Soul Symbols, and for 400, you'll get Flora, and 500 will get you 15 Glorious Relics. However, one big change is we also get these Celebration Treasure Boxes, which get us additional resources as well. So it is quite a nice event if you plan on doing maybe 100 summons, because you can get 25 of these Celebration Boxes on top of 20 of your Heroic Summon Scrolls back, and 6 Prophet Orbs, which is what I'm going to encourage a lot of you to do. Just do 100 summons, get these nice rewards, and then don't really consider anything else. Rosa's not that great, and bunching up to 200, is it really worth getting the 20 Celebration Treasure Box? Maybe, but I don't know. If you're going to push that far, you probably want to go to 300, because I'm aware it's quite hard for people to get soul symbols. And soul symbols are really when you want to start pushing up, because actually a lot of you may make mistakes in the future and need to replace or regress your hero. So it's always good to have some soul symbols around. And if you haven't got any, I know a lot of people that will be pining to grab them. But generally, I'd say 100 is where you're best putting your scrolls, and just waiting for future events. We have Chinese New Year in January. We have the Christmas event at the end of December. So we do have 2 big events coming back to back, so I'd say saving your scrolls for them is probably a smart decision. Now, the amazing thing with this event is the altar exchange. I touched on this last week, and I'm having to go and look at it this time. Look at that, guys. Oh my word. Let's just buy them right now. Copy a Russell. Yes, please. Copy a Rogan. Cashing in my altar stones. Oh my word. 2 of the best heroes in the game right now. Rogan is on the best PvE team, and also meta-defining in PvP. Russell is used in every area of the game with phenomenal results. You cannot go wrong with this, it has to be said. So these 2 heroes are worth grabbing if you can. Some of you may lean towards Russell, some of you may lean towards Rogan if you're split on choice and you can't buy both, but generally I know a lot of people who are just going to pick up both because these 2 heroes are exceptionally good. Now, if we mosey on across to the Mid-Autumn Festival, you'll see that the Starlight things are still here. You can still do your check-ins if you want to. There we go. That's the day 8 done for me. That gives me an Elite Hero Shard. And the VIP thing is still here if you guys haven't yet done all the spending you wanted to do. Now, I did do a little bit of spending last event, and I'm happy I can do a little bit more because, guys, take a look at this. Oh yes, we have some very, very good value packages. This first one gives 1,000 gems, 10 scrolls, 15 relics, and 30 of these treasure boxes for only 10 bucks. Wow, bargain. Look at this one here, that's 2,000 gems, that's 20 scrolls, 30 relics, and 60 celebration treasure boxes for 20 bucks. This is incredible value. The relics you're getting are just great value. You're getting the gem value doubled, I think. Yeah, twice as many gems as you normally would. You're getting scrolls. It's just really good. If you spend on this game, this is definitely something worth picking up because relics are invaluable. Now, I know if you're a free-to-play player, you don't even have to worry about this, but for me, I'm so glad I can purchase these, because that's 1,500 VIP points I'm also going to get, and look at my VIP stuff, that's going to take me up to 5,000, which is bellissimo, so I'm really happy with that. It's absolutely fantastic, and I'm really over the moon with it. But the elephant in the room, let's go take a look at Flora. Now, Flora is an interesting hero. If you haven't already seen her skills, we're going to take a look at them now. First things first is her first passive. She gets a buff to attack, HP, crit, and speed, which brings her speed stat in at a very good 1218, but unfortunately she doesn't share the same Celestial Island as Carrie, so traditionally she's going to be slower than Carrie. And that's pretty important because her active skill is very potent. Flora will send her little pixie to attack a random enemy and deal 400% of damage with a 30% chance to Twine for 2 rounds. After that, she'll go hit someone else for an extra 100% of attack damage and also increase the Twine chance against them by 5% and keep dipping until she's hit all 6 enemies. Each time the next one she goes to will have an increase to Twine and even more damage. Now that sounds phenomenal and like a lot of damage. She's doing this against all of the opponents. She can never hit the same opponent twice, but obviously it just flits across them all until she's done with all 6. But the problem is that's a very potent active skill on a hero who's generally going to be using this in PvP. Look, it's Twine, high damage, it's stuff you'd expect from a PvP hero. But there's a glaring elephant in the room, guys. Purify will remove that Twine and take it away. So let's see if she's got any other debuffs that can potentially disrupt Purify. And also, that active skill is probably not going to happen with carries floating around and Flora losing the speed war. Even with one Rogan yourself, most people now have a Rogan as well, so Flora is still not going to be able to outspeed. She's just going to be stuck going slower than carries, getting her energy nicked, and it's going to kind of suck. Yes, you can give her a Ruyi Scepter, but even then, there's a lot of carries that are running around with Ruyi Scepters, and those carries also have a speed skin, which is going to push them even further ahead of Flora. So let me just tell you, Flora's active skill is a little inconsistent in the PvP meta right now because carry is just going to steal her energy and not make it happen. So sorry, Flora, you're not jumping out to me. Look at Russell. If Russell gets his energy stolen, it sucks, but if his active skill goes off, it's incredible. And he's also got a basic attack that's constantly chipping away at enemies, and he's always racking up those arrows. So the thing with Russell is when he finally gets an active skill off, boom, he kills. But many of us that already have Russells know the pain of losing your Russell before he gets an active skill off, and knowing that that can completely throw a fight. Carries can completely floor your Russell out of the picture. And if we know that can happen to a Russell, just think what's going to happen to a Flora because she's slower. It just sucks. Like, Flora doesn't have the same potency that Russell has, and even Russell struggle against carries, so why is Flora going to be good? I don't think she is. Before we say all hope is lost, let's take a look at her basic attack. Well, it's going to target 2 random enemies, dealing 160% of attack damage, and poison the target by 15% of the target's max HP. So that, at first, looks really good. It's a poison that's focused on the target's max HP, but annoyingly, things that are based around scaling with HP cannot be influenced by Heartwatcher's marks, so that's also a big, that's not that great. So it doesn't stack and scale as well as Ithaqua's damage over time, so she's not going to replace Ithaqua. Also, she does heal herself, though, for 15% of max HP, but if you think about that, that could also suck, because she could get yoinked by an Amun-Ra if this healing turns out to be really good, because you just go, haha, no, you lose 15% of your max HP. What I'm curious is, does heal effect adjust this? Because it is scaling with her max HP, I don't know if a heal effect stone will alter how much healing that gives, so that's something we're going to have to find out from further testing, but I don't even know if that's going to make much of a difference, because you're probably not going to even end up building her with HP heal effect, because generally you probably want to give her as much HP as you can. You're probably going to be building her with speed HP, or maybe even you want to focus on the attack damage of this of her attack. I mean, it's got a scaling thing, right? 1500% of Flora's max attack. I guess that's one thing you could consider if you wanted to use her in PvE, but then you've got to build her for attack, maybe attack, holy damage, and it just seems a bit squiffy. So I want to know how the heal effect stone works alongside her, but I don't even know if that's going to make a difference in her viability and performance, because it's a nice basic attack, but again, poison can be removed by Purify, but hey, ooh, poison plus Twine, which one's going to get removed? Well, it's a 50-50 chance. You got a hero that's just doing so much that she's hoping some of it's going to stick. Doesn't seem that good to me. I'd rather a hero that just hits so hard and isn't going to get wrecked by Purify at all. Oh, wait a minute, Russell. Final passive is okay. When attacked by an active skill or basic attack, Flora reduces the attacker's all damage dealt by 10% while increasing her own attack by 15% for 4 rounds. And this would have been amazing. It would have been amazing before the meta changed in Anniversary. Like, her as a slot 1 hero sounds phenomenal, but many of you that are keeping up to date with the PvP meta will know that slot 1 heroes are a thing of the past. A hero that's there to get hit a lot isn't really a thing anymore, because we have a lot of heroes that focus on the lowest HP enemy. And if you make Flora the lowest HP enemy, she's going to get focused by Drake, and she's just going to die way too quickly. So you're in a situation where it's like, well, if I wanted to get hit, I probably need to make her the lowest HP, but if I do that, she's going to die and not benefit from any of these bonuses she's had for herself. So maybe there's a build out there where you can give her potentially Magic Stone Sword and build her for maybe speed attack, Magic Stone Sword, maybe do something there. Maybe there's something you could do with attack and Splendid Augusta's Magic Ball, and that could work. But also, she's just also going to get completely whomped by black hole marks and other forms of damage that are just going to pass straight through Augusta's Magic Ball, and also potentially kill her. So there's a lot of things that make her seem not as good as she potentially could be. I think the way that this hero is going to be placed in the meta is as an addition that's interesting for teams, not a defining hero, not someone like Carry that stops your opponents from doing what they want to do, or a hero like Rogan that makes your team so much better that your opponent cannot keep up, because that speed boost is the most important thing in PvP. So generally, she doesn't really offer anything that goes, ooh, she's going to be good at this, apart from maybe Seal Land. Twine's going to be really good there, but a lot of us have already beaten Seal Land 20 in Forest. If you haven't, maybe getting a Flora is good for you, but getting a Flora now just for Seal Land 20? I don't think so. I think Flora is a hero not to spend scrolls on. I think she's a hero to get in Prophet Orbs. And the reason I say that is because Flora is most likely going to be available at the very beginning of December, the end of November, if the event calendar lines up as we expect. And that means Flora is going to be the Prophet Orb reward during Black Friday. And that's huge, because it means you don't need to grab Flora now, because you should already be saving orbs for Black Friday. So you're guaranteed 4 copies of Flora going into Black Friday. Then think, when she's available in Imps Adventure chests, you can just pick her up as you go, and then finally build a copy, get your Seal Land 20 beat in Forest, and then you're done. You're pretty much sorted. And the reason I say this as well is because I don't see her being compulsory in any game mode. I don't see her adding anything that we haven't already got and can't already do. And actually, if you think about it, Who's better, Flora or Garuda? It's Garuda, right? When Garuda's active skill goes off, you're killing enemies. You're hitting them so many times with those feathers that the enemy's getting broken straight through on Bending Will, and then they're dead, right? The enemy is dead. If Garuda gets an active skill, it's terrifying. Also, Garuda is super tanky. She has all that heal when people die. Compare that to Flora. Flora's heal is only if her basic attack goes off. And okay, she could debuff enemies, but she's not got that inbuilt beautiful tankiness of Garuda, and she doesn't have that raw attack damage of Garuda. What you need from Flora is for her poison to go off, you need her to potentially Twine, and you need her to get all those damages off, and ooh, let's get lucky if I get Twine. No! I'd rather just kill an enemy with Garuda. I'd rather just them die, right? I'd rather they were dead than have to do this with Flora and watch it bounce around. Nah, I just want a Garuda active skill that kills them, because dead is the best CC. Forget twining them, just kill them. Just run a Garuda. So in my mind, I think Flora is not going to be better than Garuda, and therefore we don't really need to consider going for Flora, especially if you've already got a Garuda. And I want to talk about Seal Land 20 again. People have been able to beat Seal Land 20 with 2 Garudas. What would you rather have, a Garuda and a Flora, or 2 Garudas? Again, I'm pretty sure I know what I'd rather have. So I think Flora is just not as good as other heroes in the Forest faction. She's definitely not as good as Rogan. Pretty sure she's not as good as Garuda. And it leaves me wondering if it's even worth going for this hero at all. And guys, Chinese New Year, Christmas, they're coming. Just save your scrolls. This hero isn't one that you need to go investing in. I don't think many people are actually going to pick her up. She's not giving us anything that's exciting. And at the end of the day, she doesn't give anything unique. So sorry, Flora, it's a no from me. If you did, however, decide you wanted to build Flora, I think the way to go is with Receptor and a Speed Stone, just to get her going as quick as possible and increasing the chance of the Twine. Because if you are leaning into that, you really need this active skill to go off, and building her quick, and also with a good chance to Twine is all very good. It all sits in and synergizes very well. But do remember, you are going to get outsped by carries that have Receptors, even carries that have Augustus Magic Balls that have better Celestial Island Stones than you do. So yeah, you're just not going to have a good time with her. It's worth trying, but is it though? Probably not. It's not worth the 2,000 scrolls. So there you go. That's my first impression of Flora, and the event seems really good, but this hero doesn't, is basically my conclusion. I'd say wait until Black Friday, because that's most likely when she's going to be given as a reward, and there's no point going after this hero now, when we're going to get her in 2 months anyway, as the top reward in the biggest profit orb event of the year, so we're going to get 4 copies of her anyway. I'm happy just to wait it out. She's not a hero that's going to be pushing the meta. She's a hero you can all be patient for. If you want to catch more event reviews like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to catch some more of my content, you can find it over here on the side of the screen. And if you want to be like Moats and help keep the lights on here at MKxJUMP, why don't you consider backing me on Patreon using the link down below in the description. Thanks guys for tuning in. I hope you have a great week, and happy idling.